Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with Mixed Media Mayhem. And I am so far out of my comfort zone here, it's not even funny. When I looked at this and thought, okay, not my style, not my comfort zone, I can't even, just when I looked at it, I thought, God, I have no idea how they did that. So the approach I decided to take was to kind of break it down into the elements that I quote unquote recognized, and that's using the term loosely, and then kind of deciding where I wanted to go with it, and lace and fabric flowers and buttons not going to be where I head with this. So I thought I'd do the photo I'm going to use is one of this raccoon drinking out of our swimming pool back years ago at our pool in Houston. And it's a funny picture that I just ran across, and I ran through a filter. It wasn't a very good picture. It was taken through my kitchen window out under a big overhang that like a covered patio across the pool to the other end of the pool, like totally from the house to the very back end of the yard through a window, I might say. Then I wasn't great about cleaning windows. And so the light was not perfect or anything. It was awfully far away, and I had a good zoom on my camera, but there wasn't a lot of detail. So running it through the filter kind of got the tropical leaf look, and it actually added some detail, some sharpness, I guess, to the little raccoon body there. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to use. And I had some papers that came across my desk as I was looking for, I guess it was unicorns I was looking for. I found this collection. It's a Simple Stories. I think it's called Dream Big. And I just kind of had some scraps, and I ruffled the edges of them and put foam behind some. I may put more. The blues and greens in these papers do not match the blues and greens in the photo. To me, that makes the photo stand out. We'll see if I made a mistake or not. And I have some Calvinball points assembled here. I'm going to pull this out of the way for right now, and we're going to make the background. And I've got my handy dandy texture paste bottle, which I've refilled. And I have a couple other, I've got Vicky Bouton's Creative FX Prism Glaze and some Bo Bunny glitter paste in kind of some blues and greens that do go with the photo and also with the papers. So we'll see how that works out. Now, what I noticed here is that all of this kind of rough textured background, that seems to have a fibrous texture. Easy for me to say. And there are many ways that you could kind of do that. And I'm not sure. As I look at this stencil, I'm kind of thinking I might be able to do something with that. But let me get the red paint off of it, if it's indeed removable. I think that's from when I tried to do the Nuvo drops through the stencil. Okay, so this may add a little bit of a pink to it, and there's some pink in the flower, so that's fine. So what I'm going to do to achieve texture is I'm going to cut a piece of this burlap ribbon, and once I spread some texture paste, I'm going to smoosh this down in it. And I may need more than one piece. I'm going to have two areas. The other thing I notice about it, the basic design principle of it, is that there's a cluster, a large photo cluster here, and then an embellishment cluster down here. Because of the direction my raccoon is facing, I'm going to have the large photo cluster over here and the embellishment cluster down here, and they'll connect by such and so. I've also got this little handy, this is a bucket of texture tools that I use mostly for gel printing. And I've just kind of got them in this container. And so I went to that and found this. I was actually looking, I know somewhere I have something that's a not so fibrous that it's coming apart like this burlap is. And it's the kind of tape that you put when you're sealing something, like we were sealing our basement to prevent water from coming in, and it's used for that. And then you put tar over it, and it kind of holds the tar in place. So I'm taking a sheet of Vicky Bouton foundations paper, and I'm going to start kind of just scraping some texture paste across in the two areas that I'm going to be working. And I didn't spend a lot of time on that, and there's no stencil involved. Now I'm going to kind of press that down. And as I expected, it's leaving a lot of fibers behind. And I'm going to try to make it not matter that happened. Oh, I like that texture there. So let me do that a little more, kind of press down on that. What I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to just discard those. I may put a little bit more. I'm going to add enough color that those fibers are just going to kind of become part of the background. I'm going to put a little bit of this on this tool, and I have no idea where I got this tool. I think it's something Christina may have sent me in a Secret Not Secret kit sometime back. Oh, this is doing just what I wanted it to do. Just kind of adding more texture on top of the other texture. Okay, now I don't think I need a whole lot more of that. I want to be sure it's closed because I think this is one of the few jars of that that's left in the universe. Okay, here is this green Bo Bunny glitter paste is really hardened. And what I think I'm going to do with it, I'm going to apply it with the same applicator, but I'm going to use a different motion. And I'm just kind of letting it get on there because I'm going to put it on and then I'm going to drag it across. Let me get my fingers clean. I'm going to put a little bit on like that, and then I'm going to drag it. Okay, and then bits like this are still going to kind of come off. And it's okay that it's kind of falling around. If this were a little bit less dried out, I think my idea might work better. But I'm okay with some bits of color and texture being stronger than others. I want it to look really gritty and heavily textured, but no discernible pattern. Maybe, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There. And there can be some bits around in the other areas. I don't want it to look like smooshes, though. Okay. And that is going to go in the pile of stuff that goes. I'm going to wrap it with this baby wipe to keep it moist so that doesn't dry like concrete on there, and then I'll wash it in the sink. And I'm going to wipe the texture paste off of here. Now I'm going to start playing with inks, I think. And oddly enough, I'm going to start, this is Dina Wakley gloss spray. I'm actually going to start with it, and I'm going to splatter it on top of, it's another layer, it's a different sheen from anything I have on the paper right now. And it adds another layer. It's just kind of building up texture. I need to wipe this area right here. And there are some kind of chunks of that. I'm gonna try to spread out, but I'm okay with some chunks being bigger than others. Okay, and like I said, I have this basket with a fair number of Calvinball points. Let me try a spritz, and I'm going to put this right here. And this kind of adds a little, like some sprays of white over that color. And the dots of white will stay more opaque. The spray will be a little bit less opaque. And hopefully that will achieve the look that I'm going for. I'm also going to take some of the white texture paste, which is what we started off with, and do some areas where I just kind of drag it through this stencil. And that gives some texture that kind of does have a pattern. What that reminds me of is the metal that's in workshops. I forget what you call that. There's a name for that, because I got some light, all of the plugs and light sockets in John's workshop at our last house had that pattern in metal, kind of a shiny metal. There's a name for that, and I'm sure some of you will tell me what it is. Okay, I'm going to put this in the to be washed pile as well, which is actually looking a little like a trash can now. And I'm going to go get another baby wipe. We'll let that dry a little bit. It won't take long for it to dry. There's nothing on there that's very thick, but I'm kind of feeling like it has the texture and the look to it that I like, but I'm not completely satisfied. I want to add, let's see, I have these Pink Fresh liquid watercolors, and I have a spray bottle of water, and I used to have a little tray that I could use. I'm going to take the lid off of that container of sequins, and I'm going to do this. Spray a little water in there and put a drop of that. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of this Nouveau glitter spray that's kind of really coppery gold. I have no idea what that's going to do mixed together, but I've got this paintbrush that can kind of pick it up. You can see the glittery sheen in there. I'm just going to kind of go moosh it around in places, and then I'm going to blot it up because I don't want it quite that strong. I like it a lot. I'm gonna, and so, you know, a lot of paper is going to be covering this up. Let me spray a little bit more water. And I'm noticing as I'm patting down, you know, blotting up some of the color, that the texture paste is dry. I'm not mashing it down, so that's good. And okay, so I'm gonna just use up the rest of the color I have here and kind of blot it around. I have no idea whether this is anything like the way that texture was put down, but it's achieved something that I don't hate, so I'm thinking we're good. Again, this goes in my need to wash it pile. I need to have a sink installed right over here where I can just dump things in, or at least remember to do a pot or a bucket or a tray or something of soapy water. Okay. That looks somewhat dry enough to work on, but I think we can put together the I'm just going to blot up anything that might be wet, and as you can see, there's not much that it's picking up there, so that's okay. So I can still put together the photo cluster, and I'm going to put this aside while I do that. And these are the components. Now in here, it looks like you've just got different scraps, you know, at kind of crossways of each other. I think those 3 might be good for the bottom part. I like that idea. This particular piece right here is a cut apart card that has some words on it, but I don't intend to for those words to show. So and I'm just using foam scraps here. If I do that kind of off kilter like that, and this one off kilter like that, and this kind of in there, and then this may, how about if I cut that in 2 and have part of it coming out of here and part of it coming out of here, and then this strip may be right behind there like that. Something like that. Gives me plenty of real estate to pile embellishments on. So let's do it in this order and we'll see how that works out. And what this means is I need another piece over here to kind of pop that up a bit, because this part will be directly on here. Now we're going to do this. This doesn't have any foam, so let's get it some. And I have kind of roughed up the edges. I not only used the edge of my scissors, but I'm just gonna I kind of folded and rolled it and tore it and all those destructive things. Okay, and then here and here. And I have, I need a bit of ribbon for Calvinball, so I've kind of put that there. Not much of this polka dot is showing, and I think that's a bit of a shame, but I can live with it. Actually, I'm going to put this tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to separate it a little bit so that I get a little more vertical. I don't want it exactly the same length as any of the other pieces. So here. There we go. Okay, and then I can do something that will bring this ribbon kind of up into more prominence. I can maybe put something behind that. So this is what's going to go up in that upper left-hand corner. And then the part down here, I want this at the bottom, and then this kind of slightly overlapping that. No particular, and it's going to go from this way to this way, so I want it extending out this way. Okay, and then that allows me to put some flowers and such. Okay, let's get started putting this puppy on. So we're going to put this right here. I'm always surprised at how much of the mixed media gets covered when I put things down. I'm going to run some of this foam tape back here just to give it, this foam tape back here will stick better to the wet or damp mixed media. And if it does act like it wants to come off, I can put some liquid adhesive. In fact, why don't I do that anyway? Let's get some. And in retrospect, there's my phone talking to me, or my watch talking to me again. In retrospect, I would say that I'm not crazy about these fibers that were left behind by the burlap. So I'm gonna pick them off. I know that one's probably not gonna show because the photo cluster will go over it, but it kind of looks like eye shed on my art piece here, and don't really like that look necessarily. Okay, so I want some of this texture to show. I want some of that color to show. I like these little drippy looking pieces over here. So the wet glue gives me a chance to kind of move it around a little bit before finally pressing it down. And then this, I'm going to kind of run down at the bottom here. I know it's hard for you to see what I'm doing down at the bottom of the page, so I'll move it up. And there's some of that texture shows, and this kind of swirly textile looking look is there. So now, having said that, I have these Calvinball points here, I will tell you that this page is not about getting Calvinball points. I'm playing Calvinball, yes, but this page is more for the interpretation, my interpretation of this layout. And so I'm going to be truer to the layout than I am to Calvinball, just as a side note. Let me put that aside. Okay, so I'm going to put the actual decorations on, and can you see what I'm doing here if I do it up at the top? I've fussy cut a bunch of flowers from one of the papers, and I want to somewhat emulate that dimensional look of the flowers that are in the original. So I've got this foam pad, which is a piercing mat, and I'm using the end of my quick stick tool, and it really kind of folds the flowers up. I'm gonna do this to as many as I can. Some of these are just meant to kind of go down like that, so that's not going to get textured. And I'm just kind of placing them where they might go in order to know how many I have and what else can go where. So I'm kind of pressing in the center of all of the flowers, even if they're more in there. And this works really well. I actually like it better than what I used to use, which was kind of a little, I actually have bought a tool that has a metal edge. This is softer and it's a little bit bigger and it gives a little bit nicer lift to them. It doesn't, and it's not gonna like tear the paper or anything. Okay, so I think that's the end of my fussy cut flowers. And I'll go put those on first because that's actually what I would be putting on there if there were no Calvinball. Let me put it that way. Let's see. Now I'm going to pull this back down, make sure that I'm in frame, and I'm going to kind of, let me get my little roll of, I get a roll of dots. And I'm going to let these not only curl up, but pop up. I'm going to kind of go like that, and then it leaves me room to tuck Calvinball or other things, any other embellishments underneath, and the flowers still stay as the kind of as the primary decoration, if you will. I'm going to put a little bit of this on here and maybe go right over here with that. And then I can put this yellow flower here and it will tower over that. I'm going to try to see if I can get those things corralled in. There. What's nice is all of these lines of scraps provide kind of a platform for embellishments, so you can kind of keep your embellishments looking orderly even if you're doing something crazy like Calvinball. So I'm going to kind of squeeze that under there. And then I'm going to squeeze this one under here. Y'all are going to laugh when you see my flare that I have for this. Let's see. I'm actually going to go ahead and maybe put that right there, and then I can tuck something right there at that corner. So now I'm gonna go work on the top. And on theirs, they left the papers pretty much unobstructed up at the top, and they ran the flowers kind of at the bottom and up kind of the back side, if you will. So I'm gonna try to do that same sort of thing. And I'm just going to start with that flower right there. And then here is something that can be tucked under, but that I still want to have some dimension. There. And then here's kind of a nice big one that I can put right there. trying to see if I thought it needed maybe two layers of the foam, and I think it does, and I think it's okay. There, and then this, maybe right there. And I can kind of sneak something in right there. And I'll let this be what goes there. Now I have a title that is a cut file that says sweet. And okay, so that's the end of those flowers. Let me get the cut file in place down here because I want to be sure that I have it placed there before I add Calvinball stuff. So let me get it. I need some glue on the T and the W. And I think the rest of it can be loose. The W will stick right there. And I've got the T right there. Okay, so that is done. I have this clip, and the point here is you get a point for a paper clip. You also get a point for something that depicts coffee or tea. And I kind of like this. It has a little coffee or tea cup. And I was able to hide the pink part there and just have that come out. And it doesn't look too obtrusive. I have this sticker, which is a sunflower, and we get a point for a sunflower. This is a vellum sticker, so it counts for my vellum point and my sunflower point, although I have a vellum camera, so okay. I'm going to just kind of scooch this under there. So there's not a lot of it showing underneath that group of very different flowers. And I also have this hibiscus, and we had so much hibiscus growing in that garden around the pool. And if it was a yellow one like this, it was definitely one that John picked out. Now this is made of washi tape. So I'm going to put that kind of right under there where you and I know it's there, but it's not real, you know, in real contrast to the other flowers. Now, what I may have a little bit of trouble with is the shamrock, although I used this photo. I dragged a shape down into my word processor, and the shape was this shamrock. And then you can snap any kind of background or photo. So this photo was on my desktop, so I just dragged it in, and these are the tropical leaves that you're seeing there. So I was thinking if I put it right here, it wouldn't be too obnoxious. So let me, and I picked one that has the side printed so that the side was cut off. So I kind of hide it under there, and I may put something smaller on top of that still. Like, for example, this heart could go there. It's a wood grain heart that can kind of overlap by kind of sitting on the photo. And then I've got this, this is also washi tape. It's a pineapple, and it's very subtle, and it can kind of slide in under there and stick out right here where, you know, I know it's there, but it's not too obvious. This is a washi tape bumblebee, and I'm going to put the bumblebee up here by the cup of coffee. Just, it's like a little tiny small accent there. Now I've got this flare. This is it's a little raccoon. And since there's the real raccoon there, I thought I might put him right here. I don't really want that T to cover up his little eyes. Maybe I'll slide him in there. That's just so cute. And I have a hedgehog that is half a hedgehog and therefore, you know, needs to be kind of peeking out like that. I found this in my fussy cut drawer. Throughout the year, I fussy cut things that I think will be useful for Calvinball. There are some things that we have had in years past that I haven't seen come up yet. So I've got this little Mickey ears. There's a requirement for something Disney, and there's nothing Disney about this this layout or the story or the photo or anything. But you know me, I don't let appropriateness get in the way of a good Calvinball layout. I've got this silver star, which kind of doesn't want to fit anywhere. I'm going to kind of just put it right there. I'm hoping that glue sticks. And I've got a little tiny acrylic star, and just because I have it out and I like the color, I'm going to put it over here too. And I hear Reese going crazy upstairs. I'll bet that my HelloFresh boxes are being delivered. I have this musical note. Where shall we put it? It's black, so it's going to kind of stand out. I don't really want it to be too obvious. That kind of hides it nicely. I have a dinosaur that is like a baby dinosaur cracking out of its shell. Where shall I put this? Maybe here next to this little raccoon. I'm just going to put it flat because there's enough textured stuff underneath it to lift it up. I'm going to kind of put it right there, and I'm going to put the top of the egg. This is a Lawn Fawn stamp set that I absolutely love, and I've used this stamp a million times on cards, but I don't think I've used it on a layout before. I have a gnome, and the gnome can be over here. I'm going to put a dot behind it, and then I have a little tiny mushroom, toadstool that can go. I'll have it kind of tucked in behind the shamrock, but with his arms overlapping there. And let me get this. I'm going to put it, where do I want it? I kind of want it there, but it doesn't have to be there. How about maybe in conjunction with that heart? Okay. I have to have an arrow and something wood veneer. So I have an arrow right here, and I'm going to put it just right out there, pointing in. I have this vellum camera. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive around and kind of tuck it in behind my gnome. And I've got a speech bubble that says click. And I'm going to put it right here because it's kind of saying to the raccoon, someone's taking your picture. That crazy woman inside is taking your picture. So there. I've got a tiny wood grain butterfly that's on grid paper. So it counts for that. Let me kind of do that. Some of the texture is falling off. I'm going to put it maybe right here on the word sweet. I'm going to put a little bit of glue because I don't know how old any of the adhesives are. This is from a very old set of stickers. And I've got a layered sticker here. This is, let's see. Where would I want to put that? It can kind of go like right there. Let me get it around there. And I've got a cloud shape with a unicorn in it. Let me rough up the edges of the cloud. What I did there was I printed, I found a unicorn image for free out on the internet, and I printed it, and then I punched it out with a cloud punch. I'm going to put it right here. And I've got these little tiny, you get a point for a mouse. And I just couldn't help, I couldn't resist. This is a set of stamps. It's October Afternoon Woodland Park, I think was the collection. And John loved that collection. And what he loved about it was it had a raccoon in a stamp and images in the collection. And it had this little pair of mice in the stamp set. So that was John's choice. John's scrapbooking supplies. He loved October Afternoon. Okay, this is a cupcake flare, and it brings in the birthday element, and colors are just perfect. So I'm going to put it there and let the ribbon kind of be supported by it. That brings the ribbon up, kind of raises it up a little bit. We need a house, And I've got this little kind of pool cabana looking house. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to raise up this pineapple. I'm going to put it someplace else. I'll let that just kind of sneak in there, and maybe I'll put this right out a little bit kind of under it. There we go. That's so good that that can be lifted up and repositioned like that. Okay, great. Now I have some tropical greenery here that could kind of come out that way. I have this green color that's something I die cut a million years ago, and I think I've now used all of that had been left over from another project. So I'm going to put the green and the white in there, just kind of overlapping each other. I'm getting down to the end of what I had collected. I have this little airplane, and it's an airplane sequin, and one of its wings is bent, but I'm not going to let that change my opinion of its suitability for my page. I have this turtle, and the reason I want to use the turtle is that on the floor of that pool, we had a family of turtles, a mama turtle and I think 3 babies. And they were done in tile. And that was one of my proudest things about that pool. I loved that pool. That was going to be our forever pool in our forever house. And so I put the turtle a little bit on its side so it's climbing over. I need to pull an avocado out. I don't have an avocado on here yet. So I'm thinking I may put a few sequins over here. Now I'll never find where those dots of glue are. I think on a really textured background like this, a little sparkle from some sequins really kind of brings things to life. And as I am trying to introduce a green color to counterbalance the blues that are in the background, these seem to really make it look nice. Let's see. Scoosh that down there. I think that one's off loose somewhere. Now I need to remember to put the avocado in. This is that same sequin set that I've been working with. It's Guac It Real Good. And it has these tiny, perfect little avocados. They're just so stinking cute. Let's see. I need another one down here. And I thought maybe I'd put the enamel dots over here. I'll have the sequins in that corner, and then we're almost done. I'm kind of surprised that I got everything on there, for one. Let's do... That's not going to stick because the sticky stuff stayed on the packaging. A little dab of glue, and then Okay. I'm going to put this one up here just kind of on its own. I'm trying to kill this sheet, in case you couldn't tell that. Okay, we're done. So thank you for watching. I think I did my interpretation of this really gorgeous, lacy, elegant, Parisian kind of page. And I did a page about a raccoon drinking salt water from a pool that had turtles on the bottom. And I'm sure the raccoon was dreaming of all of this stuff that's on this page. And that's how I get away with putting it on my page. So I'll see you next Friday for Mixed Media Mayhem. And I hope you'll give this one a try. Even if it looks like something you couldn't do, you can kind of play with it and do something fun with it like this. So thanks for watching. Bye.